News Channel 15 presents The Film Reel, the talk show where we discuss everything going on in the world of movies and television, with hosts Bryce West and Ian Lloyd. This is The Film Reel.
Hello and welcome into The Film Reel, the talk show where we discuss everything going on in the world of movies and television. I am Bryce West.
And I'm Ian Lloyd.
And today we got a really action-packed episode for you all. We're going to be talking about Disney's remake of The Little Mermaid, and we're going to be talking about remakes all throughout today's episode. But first, let's take a look at this week's box office report.
Coming in at number 5 is Evil Dead Rise, starring Lily Sullivan and Alyssa Sutherland, a twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a prime battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. The film brought in $2.4 million, dropping 34.9% from last weekend. For The Film Reel, I'm Drew Pounton.
Coming in at number 4 is Book Club: The Next Chapter, starring Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen, and Mary Steenburgen. The film follows the new journey of four best friends as they take their book club to Italy for the fun girls trip they never had. The film brought in $3 million, dropping 55.1% from last weekend. For The Film Reel, I'm Ian Klingler.
Coming in at number 3 is the Super Mario Bros. Movie, starring Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy. The film follows the story of the Super Mario Bros. On their journey through the Mushroom Kingdom. The film brought in $9.6 million, dropping 23.9% from last weekend. For The Film Reel, I'm Quentin Watt.
Coming in at number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, starring Chris Pratt, Chakudi Iwuji, and Bradley Cooper. Still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill rallies his team to defend the universe and one of their own, a mission that could mean the end of the Guardians if not successful. The film brought in $32.4 million, dropping 47.7% from last weekend. For The Film Reel, I'm Tegan Rule.
Coming in at number 1 is Fast X, starring Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez. The film follows Dom Toretto and his family, who are targeted by the vengeful son of drug kingpin Hernan Reyes. The film opened with $67 million. For The Film Reel, I'm Mallory Burton.
So pretty predictable top 5. Yeah. I mean, Fast X clearly opened at number 1, around where it was projected to open at around $67 million. I believe projections were around 66. So a little over, but still not really anywhere close to a lot of its predecessors. Guardians 3, Super Mario Brothers movie, the usual suspects. It was very clear that these were going to be number 1 and 2. Book Club: The Next Chapter at number 4 dropped a lot less than I thought it would.
That's surprising. It really is.
And then Evil Dead Rise, it stayed in the top 5, like I thought it would. I thought it would stay at around 4, and then Book Club would be at 5. But it's still nice to see Evil Dead Rise still doing pretty decent in the top 5. So with that being said, we're going to go into our box office showdown. But first, we have to reveal the loser of last week. So the way I scored this is that if you got number 1 correct, you get 5 points. If you get number 2 correct, 4 points. If you get number 3 correct, 3 points, etc. Down the line. And if you get a movie in the top 5 correct, but it's in the wrong spot, you get a half point. And if you guess a movie and it's not even in the top 5 at all, 0 points. So I got 13 points. I got all the top 5, but I just swapped out 4 and 5. Unfortunately, Ian, he lost by half a point.
I'm this week's loser, so I get the punishment.
Which is to review 2 Disney remakes that I got to choose. But before we get into that, we're going to get into our guesses for next week. So for number 1 this week, The Little Mermaid comes out today. I think it's clearly going to be number 1 this weekend. Coming in at number 2, Fast X just opened last weekend, so I think it's pretty clear that it's going to stay there. Number 3, Guardians, still doing well. You know, a lot of these are just the usual suspects that are going to be here for a while. Number 4, Mario, and then I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And then number 5 is a movie that's also opening this weekend. It's The Machine, starring Bert Kreischer. And he's the guy that always has his shirt off on your TikTok For You page. And then it also stars Mark Hamill, which is honestly the reason why I put it in this top 5. Otherwise, I didn't really think that it was going to do very well at all. But I thought Mark Hamill is a big enough star to where people would get curious and maybe check this one out.
So I think number 1, Little Mermaid. Number 2, I'm going to swap. I'm going to say Guardians 3 is going to stay at number 2. And then Fast X is going to go all the way down to number 3. And here's where we're going to differ a lot, because I think The Machine is at number 4. This is a movie that's based off of a stand-up bit that all of my friends at high school loved back when it came out, like 2013 or so. So I definitely think that movie is going to do pretty well for the most part with this kind of slow weekend. And then number 5, I think it's going to be About My Father, starring Robert De Niro. I think this one's going to briefly get into the top 5 and then probably drop off next weekend. And yeah, that's my list.
Okay, cool. A lot more newcomers than in my list, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that all pans out. But yeah, so you were the big loser last week. So let's actually hold on real quick. Let's go over what the punishment is going to be for next week. Okay. So next week we're going to be covering Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and so the loser of this week's game will have to give a good review of Morbius, a Spider-Man movie spinoff that is notorious for being absolutely horrible. So yeah, one of us has that to look forward to next week, but. Let's get into your punishment. So I decided that Ian had to watch The Sorcerer's Apprentice and Peter Pan and Wendy, 2 Disney remakes that didn't have really great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So Ian, what were your thoughts?
I'm happy with these picks that you assigned me.
Backfired.
Because I like Nicolas Cage, so Sorcerer's Apprentice was a fun time, even though it was the most 2010s movie I've ever seen in the best and worst ways. It was cute, it was fun, but just kind of whatever. It was very different from the original short from Fantasia. It was more trying to become a boy-centered property that Disney could use before they really went gung-ho on all the Marvel movies. So that was fine, but Peter Pan and Wendy was actually great. It was a new release, dropped on Disney Plus, I think earlier this month, or maybe it was last month. I think it was last month.
Recently, yeah.
It was recent, and it was a great time. I love the director, David Lowery's other works, and I think it is a great comparison point for the movie we are going to be discussing in just a brief minute.
Okay, well, punishment backfired. He liked both of them, so I'll have to try harder next time to really find stuff that he doesn't like. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick break and then give you our thoughts on The Little Mermaid, which comes out tonight.
News Channel 15, winner of the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System Award for the nation's best community college TV station.
News Channel 15 presents The Film Reel, the talk show where hosts Bryce West, Ian Lloyd, and Kane Jones give you the latest news in the world of movies and television. Join us every Friday night at 6 to know the greatest things to watch this summer. It's The Film Reel on News Channel 15.
I am Jordan Crow. I'm a registered nurse and director of case management here at Wabash General Hospital. I started my journey with Wabash General Hospital in 2011 and a part of the Health Occupations program. After that experience, I decided I did want to pursue nursing. What matters the most to me about working at Wabash General Hospital is the flexibility that it allows for me to live and work close to home. It allows more time with my family and also allows me the opportunity to serve the community that I grew up in.
Come see the Tri-State's largest display of high-quality, affordable furniture and home decor at Timberlake Furniture. With a warehouse spanning more than 8 football fields in length, you'll find what you're looking for and can take it home with you the same day. Shop the latest styles from the name brands you know and trust, all at the lowest prices anywhere. Check out our huge selection of top-quality mattresses from Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, and Stearns & Foster. And shop our closeout mattress sale going on now. Timberlake Furniture, so your house feels like home.
Welcome back into the film reel. Today we're going to be reviewing The Little Mermaid, which comes out tonight, this weekend. And it's one of the notorious Disney remakes. You know, a lot of these haven't been received very well throughout. Mostly audience scores, they don't get received very well, but they're received great in the box office. And I think this is going to be another one of those cases. But yeah, so it's... Look, it's The Little Mermaid. If you've seen The Little Mermaid, you've seen this film. I think coming out of it, the only reason to watch this film is the wonderful performances from Halle Bailey as Ariel. She absolutely killed it. She was great. Absolutely wonderful performance. And then Melissa McCarthy as Ursula was also a really, really fun choice. I think she plays the role pretty well. And then Jonah King, who plays Eric, was just okay. Otherwise than that, I could have just watched the trailer and then gave you my review for today, because it is the same exact film. Ian?
You're gonna get what you want out of this movie if you want a more bland-looking version of the original cartoon. It is exactly like all these other movies that have come out with the Disney remakes. It is the same story again. A few things are expounded upon, and those things are kind of cute. I like the stuff they do with Eric's backstory. I like what they do with, there's a scene where Ariel has to like sing a song in her head because her voice is taken out, if you've seen the original. And I think all that is like some really cool things to add that were already like great things from the original. It just makes these like more apparent. But it's a bummer that this movie still looks like absolute dog water. It is just boring to look at.
Yeah.
It is kind of an insult to the original animation and all the great, vibrant colors that came with it.
Yeah, visually completely uninspiring. I mean, this movie should have looked absolutely gorgeous. Something like Aquaman or Avatar: The Way of Water was a wonderful example. A movie made by Disney, you know, or at least 20th Century Fox, which is owned by Disney. You know, so it's really odd. I mean, like a lot of those, I mean, we've had great examples before. Aquaman, I don't think is a great film, but I mean, it looks visually stunning. I mean, they did a really great job with the visuals and the water. And we open up with The Little Mermaid, and I'm like, what happened here?
I think it mainly comes down to the direction by Rob Marshall, because this director is not that great. His other works include Into the Woods and Mary Poppins Returns. It's his style of filmmaking is just very uninspired. It's a lot of close-ups in musicals, which should have more wide shots so we can see all the dancing. But it's all this constant editing, and it's messy.
Yeah, for the most part, with the actual musical part, I thought it was pretty well done. Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music for this, so it makes sense. Feels like Lin-Manuel Miranda stuff. You have Daveed Diggs as Sebastian, so you know it feels very Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's usually using some similar, familiar actors that he likes to use, but. Yeah, the visuals, especially on Flounder and Sebastian, are especially horrible. Like Flounder looks like if they did like one of those like wacky horror takes on Little Mermaid. That's what Flounder looks like he belongs in. And so yeah, that wasn't very fun. I mean, overall, I thought the performances were really well. I thought how Haley Bailey, or Halle Bailey, I forgot.
Halle Bailey.
Yeah, Halle Bailey.
is
Sorry.
great.
Yeah.
she steals the show in this movie. If you're going to go see it, for one thing, it's her performance. It's great, but I do disagree. I think Melissa McCarthy did not kill it. I think she is not right for this role.
Really?
No, she doesn't have the same flair as the original Ursula, and I just. She's not serving, as the kids would say these days.
I mean, look, I thought, whenever they cast Melissa McCarthy in the role, I'm like, that makes sense. I think, whenever she's in the film, she comes off as, kind of annoying, and that's what Ursula is supposed to be. Ursula's supposed to be just this kind of annoying, like, in your face, like, kind of like character, like her, like whenever she's singing, she's supposed to be like all like and like, but I love the way they made her sort of walk on the ground with the tentacles. I thought that was done really well. I thought it looked really creepy and stuff like that. So, I mean, look, was she my favorite part of the film? No, that was Halle Bailey, but I thought she did a pretty good interpretation of Ursula.
Okay. I disagree.
Eric, Jonah Hoyer-King, just some Prince.
He's a guy.
He's there. He didn't really bring much to the role. I mean, it's pretty much what you would expect, but nothing really new was done with that. But yeah, I mean, if you have kids, definitely take them to go see this. They'll love it, But if you've already seen The Little Mermaid and you're just curious about watching this one, you really don't have to, because it's the exact same film except just not as good as the original. Yeah. So,
in fact, I don't recommend you go see this with kids or not. I don't think it's a good film, and I don't think we should be supporting Disney in their efforts to take great beloved classics and turn them into mush.
Well, we'll be talking about that later today. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. And after this, Kane Jones is going to give you his picks for unnecessary remakes coming up.
For over a century, the First National Bank has been here, serving our local communities. We're proud to still be locally owned and managed, with friendly customer service from people that you know and trust. We're here to support our neighbors, investing in our communities. We're proud to provide the latest in digital banking technology, serving as your complete financial partner. Visit us online at fnba.bank or stop by one of our convenient locations in Allendale, Mount Carmel, Carmine, or West Salem today. The First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. We're your friends, your neighbors, and we support our community. For over 100 years, we've been here, leading the way in community service and innovation. We are Mount Carmel Public Utility Company.
College doesn't have to start at an expensive school far away. You can save money and be close to home at Wabash Valley College. Many careers only require a 2-year degree or certificate. Or get your general education classes out of the way and transfer to a 4-year school. Wabash Valley College has programs in high-demand careers such as physical therapy assistant, advanced manufacturing, marketing, business management, nursing, and radio television. To find out more about Wabash Valley College, go to iecc.edu/WVC.
Now, more of the Film Reel with Kane Jones.
Hello everyone, I'm Kane Jones, and this week we are talking reboots and remakes. So first up, the first film that I have for you guys is The Little Mermaid. It comes out this week, and this is a beloved classic, right? And most of you out there are probably saying, oh, it's a beloved classic, I'm going to go see it. But in my opinion, I'm looking at it, I saw that, and this is based off all the trailers that I've seen about it. In my personal opinion, I don't think it looks that great. Now, with that being said, like I said, it's a beloved classic, right? Don't get me wrong. And I love Disney, I love classics. But like I said, based off all the trailers and everything that I've seen about it, the one thing I will say that gets me about this is the effect, the special effects. They don't look great to me. But, I haven't saw it yet, but I will see it, and that's the thing. It could surprise me, but like I said, based off all the trailers and everything, the effects to me just don't look the best. And in these live-action remakes, that's what to me is one of the key essential things that I think you guys need, or that we all want in these remakes and reboots, is good effects, good special effects. But like I said, it's a beloved classic, and that's the first film. Now, segueing to the second film that I have for you guys, which is Cinderella, another Disney film that came out in 2015, I believe. Another beloved classic, and this is another one that I think should have been left untouched. Everyone out there that's a fan of all the Disney princess films specifically that focus on a Disney princess, I think they're great. Cinderella's a classic. It would probably rank in my top 20 all-time Disney films, right? And, you know, it's great. But the live-action remake that they did in 2015, in my opinion, was not that great. But like I said, it's a classic, and they did it. Now, moving on to another classic, yet again, and this is an interesting one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, it was a show, actually, back in the late 80s, early 90s, right? And that was a hit. That was a hit. And then they did, I think, maybe even a couple films. One not too long ago, I think in like 2014. And this is another one, the third one that we're talking about here, that I think it didn't need to happen. And it doesn't need to happen this year because they are making another one, a reboot that's coming out in, I believe, August of this year. And, you know, it's kind of just, it's going to be the same thing, the classic four iconic turtles doing what they do best, you know, probably fighting crime and something of that nature, right? And I just think that it doesn't need to happen, in my opinion. Now, finally, the last film that I have for you guys is Wonka. And I'm on the fence about this one. Don't get me wrong. This is quite interesting because the original, Gene Wilder, classic, iconic even. You can't beat him. You can't beat that film. It's untouchable, right? But they rebooted it once before with Johnny Depp. People love Johnny Depp. I love Johnny Depp. And I was like, this is cool. This is cool. They rebooted it once. But this year, late this year, coming out in December, they're going to reboot it again. With Timothy Chalamet, I believe, is going to star a young Wonka. And I believe when I looked it up that the premise was somewhat to the effect of like going into the backstory of how a young Wonka came to connect with the Oompa Loompas. So on that front, I am a little intrigued on that, right? But overall, because it's already been rebooted once, and, you know, on top of the classic one with Gene Wilder, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to be a no for me. But yeah, so that's the final reboot and remake that I had for you guys. See you guys next week.
From News Channel 15.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Monday night. I'm Kyle Peach reporting.
Right now I'm here at the Riverview Stadium, otherwise known as the Snake Pit.
Well, that wintry precip south of 64 happened last night, and White and Hamilton.
Now the spin, now hands out. Shalana Wagner, top of the key, nothing but the bottom.
Hello and welcome to the Not So Late Show.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Sports Cubed.
That does it for us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.
When life gets boring, music can make us excited. But are your playlists too boring and you desperately need new music? Well, 89.1 The Bash can help. 89.1 The Bash has your new favorite alternative pop, throwback, and rock music that'll get you moving. Can't listen on the radio? Listen to us on our website, bashradio.com, where you'll be able to meet the DJs and see who's providing you with the best music content live. Listen to 89.1 The Bash, today's hit alternative.
Do you want to be a part of Mount Carmel Aces history? Show your Golden Aces pride or get the whole gang together for a class sponsorship, or memorialize a loved one by having your message displayed on a commemorative brick to be installed at Riverview Stadium Plaza. An 8x8 brick is $250, and an 8x8 corporate brick is $500. Your 8x8 brick will become a permanent part of Mount Carmel's most celebrated venue. And what better gift to give someone you love than their moment to be a part of history? Go to wabash348.com for more information. Riverview Stadium Plaza. Once an ace, always an ace.
Welcome back into the film reel. So to end off today's episode, we're going to be talking about the problem with remakes and why they become such an issue. So I mean, first, I think the first problem is pretty obvious. There's just too many of them. We're getting I feel like we're getting remakes of things like every year, and it kind of prevents films with news stories to be able to shine in the box office.
True. And I think a lot of it comes down to what is the intention to these remakes and like why are they being made. I feel like teams that are solely doing remakes to get money or to reinstate something about the brand they are like working for, it becomes dull. It becomes like bad.
Yeah.
But if a remake is made with the intention to make something new, to have like a new creative vision with that, new experience for the audience, then I think remakes are valuable in a sense.
Right, and I think a lot of the times another problem can be how a lot of them just, like you kind of said, are not warranted. They don't really add anything to the original. They're just literally copy and pasting what the original film was and releasing it to a new audience. It doesn't even really feel like a remake. It just feels like we just made the same film. There's nothing new. There's nothing different. There's nothing. You just released a nothing film.
And I think this is a great point when it comes back to the movies I watched personally, with Peter Pan and Wendy being this new movie that has new art direction and stunning visuals, and it. Director David Lowery really made a new spin on the story while still hitting out the same beats of the original, still capturing that same essence. And I just think that movie works so much better than The Little Mermaid, which just falls flat in most of that regard. It is bland and it just hits the same beats. And extends it to a bit, but for the most part, The Little Mermaid is a bad remake.
Yeah, so if you heard something shattering, it's because it did. That was the mouse that I was using to control our timer. So we'll get that fixed. Yeah, I think it's really, oh my gosh, The Little Mermaid is just so, I just watched the same movie. And all they did to change it up was the race of Ariel, which it has nothing to do with the story. I mean, she did absolutely fantastic in the role. She was the best part of the film. But I mean, if that's the only thing that you're changing about your film, that's it. That's the only new thing here. It's just come on. I don't know. All it really did was stir up. Don't get me wrong, completely unnecessary controversy. She was amazing in the in the role. But I mean, that's basically all they did was make controversy by casting her in the role. Throwing that against her, and then did nothing to make her role anything new or anything meaningful. Besides, her beautiful voice. They did nothing new with the character, nothing new with the story, and it really gets exhausting seeing that happen. Disney is the biggest, sinner, I guess, of this. Yeah. They're the ones that do this most, and they're the ones with the most money, and they're the ones that have the ability to tell these amazing, great new stories, and they continue just to tell the same old ones over and over and over again, and it's just gotten really exhausting. I'm hoping this is something that is a phase and it ends here soon, because it's getting really, really ridiculous. ridiculous.
Yeah, it's been getting stale for the past decade or so, and
sure.
I mean, people keep showing up, and that's why these movies still keep getting made, and I think that's a shame. That's a pity.
Yeah. With that being said, we're going to wrap things up here on the Film Reel. Thank you so much for watching. Our next episode is actually going to be something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a special about streaming services, their problems, and some of the things that they need to fix, because a lot of those streaming services have a lot of issues. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time.